Let's try to get it done, here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fighting more about myself here when I say. Oh, no. Not about that. Y'all have that. How are you?
Hey, that was a big day for her.
Y'all, we'll stay in a safe place. Get started.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mayor, if I may request one addition, please, a closed session for potential litigation at the end of your meeting. Yes, please.
Modification with somebody, pre-agenda, please.
Mayor Gonza, I move we approve the agenda with the change.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Have any public comment? None signed up. Anyone got anything they want to talk to us about? While you're here, gotta get a crowd. Hearing none.
Just wish everybody a happy holiday season, Merry Christmas and a good New Year.
Thank you, Mr. Britt. I'd like to take just a second while everybody's here, to thank all the staff, the community, the sheriff's department, fire department, everybody for that gracious outturn we had Saturday for the Santa Tour. That thing just seems to be getting a little bit bigger every year. It could really be something 20 years from now, no joke. I had people this week asking me how much it would cost to decorate a vehicle and to follow us along the path. So I told them to call Nicole at Town Hall. Figure we had never thought about that before, but I had a staff person that could work on that if that's where they wanted to go. Be prepared. Turn into an all-day parade. Sure enough, I thank each and every one of you, everybody. That's a great undertaking to pull that off every year. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve it, but I think, Sue, we might have a sentence change in the minutes.
Yes, Mr. Cobb pointed out to me that I had misunderstood something under the fiscal year 2024 pay study, or at least misspoke. So the last sentence now the second to the last sentence now reads, Mr. Hill was asked to run a few more scenarios based on time of service and capped at 8, 10, or 15 years respectively. I have the version you have says based on longevity and has percentages, and that wasn't correct. And this will be up on the website in a week.
Everybody agree and understand that change is necessary and sufficient. If that is okay with everyone, I'll entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda with the modifications to the minute.
That we approve the consent agenda with the modifications.
Any second?
I'll second.
Yes, sir. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to our regular agenda, our fiscal year 2027 pay study. Well, Daniel, lead us in that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight you've got an updated spreadsheet that was in your packet for pay study implementation. And at the last meeting, Mr. Hill, we asked him to run some scenarios with a cap on the year of service. You may remember the first presentation that he gave included the full implementation cost with no cap on service, and that was about $116,000. And so he provided us some information with caps of service at 8, 10, 12, and 15 years. So I've got those pulled up on the screen in front of you. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about that.
Anyone got any questions for Daniel? Daniel, I know there's been some talk that, the employees got a raise at,
Mhm.
fiscal year start,
Right.
but am I right in saying that we talked a little bit about this in the visioning and during the process of the budget, that we knew this was coming, we just didn't know exactly when it would hit?
That's right. Yeah, the plan was always to get it done this fall. And just for a little bit of clarity, the raises that were given, that was a percentage based off of what the cost of living was, the CPI inflation, in an attempt to just kind of keep up with things. And so the best example I can come up with to present this to you is with very simple math. If the market rate for a position is $110 a week, I'm making this simple so that I don't get messed up. I know everyone understands this, but so if the market rate is $110 a week and someone was making $100 a week on June 30th, on July 1st, they're making $106, which was 6%. So there's a gap of $4 there. So the pay study basically highlighted that gap. And so what we're asking for implementation would be to raise everyone to that new hourly wage, that we get them to that number, and then fill in from basically now until July 1st, back to July 1st, to kind of bring everybody whole where they would have been if we'd done this pay study, say, last spring. So that's and the caps came in just as options to lower the implementation costs.
And Mr. Hill, when he, done the pay study,
Mhm.
he's seen the whatever raises they
Mhm.
got was in there before he even started doing the
That's
study,
right.
correct?
That's right.
But anything else?
Well, his numbers are based off of fiscal year 24-25 start date, correct?
He has taken into consideration a factor of 3.5%. So the data that he used to come up with these numbers was data that he pulled in July and August of this year. And so the numbers that he got from the town were effective July 1st, which is when the raise took effect. And then throughout July and August is when he gathered data from all the neighboring communities that he pulled for the data. And so on top of that, he factored in a 3.5% inflation number, because as soon as he got that information, planning for next year, it's going to be out of date. And so basically that's an assumption of 3.5% on top of what the rates were back in August, if that makes sense. So basically, if this is approved as it's been presented with a cap on it, then next spring when we're developing the budget, if inflation is at 3.5% or less, I would not be requesting any cost of living adjustments for staff. If it's at 4%, I'd be requesting 0.5%. And again, that's just to keep even with inflation.
A question I had was simply if any action we take in improving the pay study, do we have to designate where that funding will come from, or can we delegate that to staff, to the town manager, or how does?
We've identified it coming from revenue over budgeted amounts and interest on investments and sales tax revenue. You don't have to formally make that in your motion. You can just implement it and understand that that's what we'll be looking to cover the cost for this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
I would entertain a motion to move forward with this. Idea putting it on the table, we'll start with that.
I'll give it a shot. I'll move that we accept the pay plan, pay study as presented, with the exception of years of service being capped at 10 and implementation on January 1st.
2024.
Yes.
Okay, I've got a motion. You have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Just a second. Any discussion?
This just includes full-time, not part-time employees.
That's right.
Are the part-time employees gonna get anything?
You're welcome to add them to the discussion. I mean, there's funding available for this implementation. So we could certainly cover part-time employees if you wanted to raise that as well. We didn't study them specifically, but you're more than welcome to.
How many part-time employees do we have?
4.
Where are we at with them?
$18 an hour.
They all. We got, always had good ones, but we've got good ones now.
Oh yeah, we've got a great staff. We don't want to lose any of them.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very much appreciated. To go up to that amount. Or go up, excuse me.
Were they in on the 6% raise?
No.
Problem I have with it is I really don't know what would be fair to do.
Mm-hmm.
Fact of the matter is, they can go almost any hamburger joint nowadays and make that
Mm-hmm.
be inside. Probably even get a free lunch out of it, to be honest. So I don't know. Think about it. We just wanna deal with this tonight and have, anyone work on getting something for that. Versus us coming up with it on the own. I'm gonna laugh with that.
I'd like to see that because I don't claim to be a professional on it.
Yeah.
Let's get an actual number.
Yeah, I'd rather say Daniel give us a little thought.
Yeah.
So I've got a first, a second, any more discussion? I will say that I would be fine with backing it back up to the budget year, just because I'm usually planning for it. I'll go as much to say that. But with that being said, I'm gonna call for a vote if no more discussion. All in favor?
Uh,
All opposed?
Did we have a second?
Yes. We had, Randy put the motion out.
And I second the motion.
Yep, second.
Thank you. I missed the second.
So if you will, get a hold of Mr. Hill and just have him glance at that for the, okay. All right, moving on to B, petition for annexation. Are we gonna do these one at a time? It's like at one time, or how we do it?
We do need to do them one at a time. The first one is the vacant land.
5.7 acre tract,
Yes,
and number 963031043.
yes,
What's
Um,
that?
yes. And the reason we're doing them separately is because that parcel is contiguous at a point to existing town boundary, and the other piece is not. But if you choose to annex the first piece, then it is contiguous. To refresh you, there are 2 parcels. The first one is exactly as you stated. not sure what to say. The application was presented back in October, and you did discuss this at your last meeting. And you wanted time to consider it. If you have questions, please ask.
So, check, it's my understanding that the planning board looked at this.
Yeah, so it's at the last meeting. Loud voice. At the last meeting, again, this is just not for the annexation decision, but just for a recommendation for initial zoning assignment. They did look at it and did vote to recommend assignment of MR 30 low density residential zoning for both parcels.
What other questions we have?
So there was some questions about the fire department. So did we get answers on that?
We did, yeah. So we looked at the properties on their own as if they were being brought into the town and what that would generate in terms of revenue. And then we backed out costs that we calculate on a per capita basis, basically. So we have 7,300 people. Your budget is X amount of dollars. What it costs to provide services to each property or each resident rather. And that number is about $1,000. And then we looked at the tax rate for the Etowah Horseshoe District and factored in how much that would cost if we were to cover that through a what we would be collecting at the Mills River fire tax rate, because that's the rate, that's the only rate we can collect. And basically it's a net loss. So the town, if it annexes these properties, we could have a contract with the Horseshoe Fire Department to provide coverage, which is what the chief was at, which was what the chief prefers, because that keeps things simple. But it would be an annual net loss to the town to cover that cost, assuming we pay them the equivalent of their existing tax rate for those parcels.
And just so you know, as that property develops, property value and the property values increase, that net loss is larger.
I have one question. I don't. In what Miss Alexander said, it said that there's a shared well. Is that a shared well in between the two parcels, or now do we have a shared well with, if we go through with this somewhere that's in Henderson County?
Shares well, I'm assuming would just be a deed that's on the mark on the deed share with the other property.
Between the two parcels.
They could possibly be a shared well for one of the other neighborhoods.
He backs up to Edelweiss subdivision and might even be a part of it. I'm not positive. So it could be either, but that affects his value. It doesn't really affect anything to do with
Pertain to
the town.
us, yeah.
No, it doesn't create any type of liability for us.
That was more of just a, so I knew question.
Is the property owner here tonight?
No.
Has the property owner shown up to any of the planning board meetings?
I think he showed up to the first planning board meeting, yes.
So I guess I'm gonna show my ignorance a little bit. But Sue, go through what you just said to us again, so I slow down a little bit so I can understand. About the loss to the town.
If we contract with Etowah Horseshoe Fire, as the chief asked, their tax rate is higher, but we can only collect the Mills River tax rate. So the way it works out is he would like it to be based on property value at his tax rate. the fire chief for Etowah Horseshoe. So basically, we would be that extra amount over the Mills River fire that we could collect, we would be subsidizing. And it's being based on the property value. As the value goes up, as more structures are on that land, as he's proposing, say property owners proposing, then that amount we pay Etowah Horseshoe over and above is larger.
So the town's gonna pay for those property owners fire protection with Etowah to the tune of 1 cent, correct?
It's actually a penny and a half.
Okay.
And just to remind you, this is not a request from the property owner. This is a request from the Etowah Horseshoe fire chief.
Okay.
For how long?
Did anybody,
We would have a contract that would spell out how much we pay them. And again, as the property values go up, as revaluations go up, this amount continues to grow. And your other residents are basically paying for it.
was anybody ever able to talk to chief and see if they would just take what Mills River fire tax rate could take?
I spoke with him prior to tonight, and his request is that the department be paid the equivalent of their existing tax rate.
Or even could they?
Could they do what, take
Could
less?
they take Mills River's rate for just those properties that would be inside the town of Mills River at that point?
I mean, that would be whatever the town and the fire department agreed upon in a contract. But yes, I mean,
They could.
theoretically, if the town annexes them, it doesn't owe them anything. So this is our best effort to make everyone.
I'm clear on that now.
Okay.
Thank you.
But the problem might stem from the 911
Right.
address and issue of dispatching Etowah,
Mhm,
not Mills River and this, that, and the other.
mhm,
We was trying to do it that way to keep the line the same,
mhm.
get service there.
Right.
quickly.
That's right.
Is it still not to where at the first, I think 5 years, we have to pay a percentage of the fire department's debt?
The chief expressed comfort with, as long as they were being paid the tax rate equivalent of the value of that land, that would be sufficient for them.
Okay.
Create a hardship for the town financially. And I can see a reason not to do it that way. But as Sue said, we're having to take monies from other places to supplement it, to get it coverage. Like anything else? More thoughts? I'm just in the boat anywhere. I wouldn't mind having them in town, but I don't want to cost us money. I have my thing.
Well, I can say that currently I'm not supportive of the voluntary annexation for the reasons listed, because, it's going to be a net loss to the town. Subsidy, as the town clerk put it, and then we had both fire chiefs here talking about the public safety issue and the need to contract with a second fire department to negate that public safety issue. And then, as it's been explained to this council, the purpose for the voluntary annexation is to get a higher density. And since our incorporation was to preserve the rural character, it seems out of line for us to bend over backwards, subsidize in order to get higher density in these adjoining properties by bringing them into the town. So for those reasons, I'm not supportive of moving forward with this.
Make a motion to approve or deny this. No, I might do the other one the same way. One don't carry, the other one's not contiguous, correct?
That is correct. But just to keep things as clean as possible, I'd rather you vote on both of them.
Okay, makes sense.
And it can be in one motion. You don't really have to have a motion. You just would not charge the clerk to go forward, but a motion makes it more formal. So you could just motion to deny.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to that effect that we deny the voluntary annexation application for the unnumbered property on Ray Hill Road as well as one for 227 Ray Hill Road.
Thank you. How about a second?
I'll second it.
Another second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So let's go on down here to 1.75 acres and number 96303113737 parcel. Make a motion for it as well to keep everything clean and neat.
Yeah, try to do it in one fell swoop, but I'll move that we deny the application for voluntary annexation for the property address at 227 Ray Hill Road.
Second,
I'll second it.
all, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That would have been no doubt. Okay, we need to set a public hearing date for the, no. we
You
don't
just,
need that.
just scratch that off the list.
Land Preservation Program, Resolution 2023-19.
Mayor and council, I'll just reiterate the conversation that we had last month. The Land Preservation Committee began meeting last spring, and over the last several months has developed a packet of information that was intended to be used as an application that people could take advantage of to establish a conservation easement on their property in perpetuity. Initially, it was targeted at farmland only, but after some discussion, the committee decided to open it up to just land preservation. The idea being if there are environmentally sensitive areas out there that are worthy of protection, that they should be able to qualify as well. And so in your packet is the same information you saw last month. And I think last time you didn't get this until I think the day of the meeting or the night before, so there wasn't a lot of time to review it. So it was tabled for that purpose. We've got a couple of members of the committee here who I'm sure be willing to offer any support or answer questions. But again, just in summary, the idea is that the town would be a partner in something like this. We wouldn't necessarily be the group spearheading it, but if someone had a farm, for example, they would contact the town. We would look over our application process. We would get in contact with the Conserving Carolina, and then in tandem, we would walk them through a process to make this happen. Randy or James, anything you guys want to add on top of that?
That was pretty good for my part.
Any other questions about this?
I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Mayor Pro Tem Austin for his leadership on this, as well as Councilman Cantrell and the members of the committee. I'm excited to see this come to fruition, and I'm fully supportive of it.
We ready to move forward with this?
Aye.
Get rolling. Ready, Randy?
I've been ready. The only thing Daniel, we had discussed about creating a committee to go over applications. I'll defer to you, should we go ahead and make the committee as we vote on this also?
I would prefer you to table that until your next meeting, because I'm not prepared to have that conversation.
Okay. We're looking for a motion on that. So I'll make a motion that we accept this land preservation program as presented to council. That
And can we amend that to adopt resolution 2023-19? Which basically
Oh, I'm sorry.
creates it.
Yes, thank you. So Randy's made the motion, need a second,
I'll second.
Any more discussion.
Can I take 2 seconds and publicly thank, Councilman Austin also? He, worked on this more than I think anybody else. And, yeah, a lot of reminders to come to his meetings and it was nice, but I think it's what, over a year coming, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yep.
I think it's a great thing.
And, this was a joint effort and a committee effort too, so, and I appreciate everybody that was there, committees and all the input that we got. It's been good.
We got a first, second, voted, no other discussion? All in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Hearing none.
Mayor Gantz, I know this is out of order, but is it possible to have a short discussion about this? Beyond, I'd be lying if I said I was satisfied with what we've just done, that our supporting role is just not where I'd hope we would land. And having said that, I'd really like to see this town, this council pursue, lobbying our legislators, our delegation in Raleigh to change the legislation. So not just the state and counties can hold these easements, but that we could actually have that option if we elected to actually be the holder of these and be a leader on this, not just a supporting cast member. So I guess I'm just trying to poll the council as, if they agree with that approach. If not, I would like to, start getting those wheels in motion to try to draft up what it would take to ask something of our legislators to, like I said, make that a reality. It may not go far, but I certainly don't want to stop at this point. I still would like to see the town have a bigger role. And also, all signs are that nothing's going to happen anytime soon at the county level with them adopting their program. I'd hope maybe we could partner with them, but I don't see any real action happening anytime soon. So given some of those factors, I thought maybe we at least give that a try. So, that my ask of you leading this meeting simply, if we can poll the council members, if this is something that they would entertain, then I'd like to start working with staff on
I
that.
don't have a problem with it. So y'all be in favor of trying to get some legislation that state to bring it to municipality for us to handle part of this. Keep it in-house somehow.
Absolutely.
I have no problem with it, Jeff. The only thing that we ran into whenever we were talking about was the expense. Is that right? And about
We got
the town keeping up with the inspections each and every year. And I have no problem with us approaching. It's just, it's gonna cost us, but everything costs. But
is, wonder if those inspections could be subcontracted out to Live.
They certainly, I would assume that they could, to someone like Conserving Carolina, but I think what Councilman Young is getting at with this is that this would be another option for the town to pursue. Right now, only counties can, or nonprofits can own those easements. Owning the easement doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be the ones that go out and purchase it. It means that we could be the applicant, like Conserving Carolina would be applicant on other grants. The town can be the applicant, which would give us some more direct support. And if I've misspoken, please correct me, but I think that's
thank you.
where we're trying to go.
Did you happen to go to the county commissioner meeting the other day when it?
Not.
Okay. I got a phone call that they're trying to figure out something with,
HC.
possibly get that same person involved in some of this. And I have been in contact with Mr. Moffett. He is all for supporting this.
So good.
Trying to get some state money to this plan we've got going to help it along. Maybe have it in a bill form where it could be residual, we get some every year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not one lump sum at one time. Get it. But I hadn't talked to him at all about possibly us handling that, so I can bring it to his attention.
Well, and I can
think it's a good idea. Anytime we can, if we're the squeaky wheel, sometimes we might get a little grease,
Mr. Mumford, you like to let Bill, he would be the ideal candidate for split it up. Yeah. If anybody is, anybody gets friends with, Ms. Baker, then she would be another good one to reach out to talk to about this.
Yeah, I think we need to, well, I'll predicate this by saying that, the majority of my career had been spent in state government, so any legislation that you can get passed is a heavy lift, so, our chances are, less or more that it won't happen than it will, but I still want to give it a try. But yes, we need at least have talk to our representatives. So we can have something possibly in the state house as well as our state senator, and have something in the Senate, and, it'll go through committees possibly, and then, pass over, crossover and all this stuff wherever it becomes law. But, I wanted to at least give it a try. And then I also say, Mr. Mayor, that because I sit on the board of directors for AgHC, the county was unreceptive to the concept of AgHC expanding their role from just development for agriculture and agribusiness to also land preservation component. The AgHC approached them simply because they're the biggest funder of that organization, and they want to have their sign off before they started, down this path. And then the commissioners weren't really receptive to it and want to see them still focus on development. Yeah, so again, that's just another reason why this can be a parallel effort, and we'll just see where it goes. But I'd like to see the town move that direction.
Good. Okay.
So I'm gonna take that as direction from the board to get this ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at what it would cost us to run it, so.
Okay.
What all would be involved. Okay, moving on to the Ag Advisory Committee reappointments.
You have two members of your Ag Committee. They're up for, reappointment. Mr. Carland, Wayne Carland, and Kirby Johnson. Both of their terms expire on January 23rd, and both are willing to serve again if council so chooses.
Any discussion?
I'll make a motion we reappoint Mr. Carlin and Mr. Johnson to the Ag Advisory Committee.
One would assume that they are willing to. Got a motion for both of them? Need a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
For the purposes of disclosure, for those that may not know, but Wayne Carlin is my father-in-law. But as I see it, I don't benefit financially or any other way if his appointment or not appointment to this. So I'm not going to recuse myself from this particular.
You want to see a conflict with, voting on this?
No.
Okay. All right, I got first, second discussion. They were all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. With the staff get called up, we'll start with staff updates from our town clerk.
Nothing further.
Park and Rec.
Yeah, super quick. I just, you hit on this a little bit at the beginning, but I just really want to thank each and every one of you, staff, council, sheriff's department, fire department, because our sanitary is a huge undertaking and our little department cannot do it alone. So thank you all. This is a huge town blessing, and it would not be able to be done without all of you. So I just want to thank everybody for every costume you put on, every candy cane you gave out, every smile you put on everyone's face. Y'all are amazing. So thank you. That's it.
Help me out, is it ladies auxiliary from the fire department? We need to give them a special thanks too.
Yes, the ladies auxiliary were wonderful. They, for all our volunteers, had amazing snacks, lunch for us, for everybody who was volunteering on the tour. They were absolutely amazing. So yes, big thank you to the ladies auxiliary.
Little niche out of it for y'all.
Yeah, one less thing for us to worry about.
Thank everybody. Okay, moving on to our lead, tax levy.
We had a very busy November. We collected $1,139,246.94. And just to put that in perspective, when I first started as tax collector, our entire tax lien was about half that, what we did in 1 month. And again, to put it into perspective, in October, we collected $193,000. So 1.139 million in a month was just amazing. I'm hoping that the next 3 weeks will be just as busy, if not. But we've got a good start to this.
Thanks for all the work.
And science.
About that. Find out.
Yeah, just a couple updates. I know this was in your weekly update, but I just wanted to inform everyone that as of last Friday, we've officially approved the legacy at Mills River Development on Jeffers Road. They are planning to develop it in 2 phases. Phase 1 that is approved will be 40 detached single-family homes and 35 duplexes, 35 duplex buildings for a total of 70 duplex dwellings. And then there will be 1 central mid-rise building of about 5 stories that will have a number of facilities, and also their they call them manor units, but the condo units. Phase 2 is the next phase that will include the health center and the 2 additional mid-rise buildings in the center of the tract, and about 35 additional single-family dwellings. So in total, again, if there are no changes to the plan when the development is fully built out, both phases, it's 456 dwelling units, 76 single-family dwellings, 72 paired homes or duplex dwellings, and then 228 manor or apartment units and 80 skilled nursing / assisted living units. So I know this special use permit was approved in 2008 and it's been a long time coming, but we're getting there. I think they will probably most likely start site work in the spring. So we'll start seeing more construction traffic down there, and we'll keep our eyes on that. Another approval, you can't see it from the road, but just wanted to highlight All About Plumbing did an expansion. They did a 6,000 square foot new building at the back of their property and expanded some of their gravel laydown yard. We just issued that CO today. And then I just wanted to inform council that we took the special use permit text amendment that also includes the multifamily text amendment, moving it from special use permit to conditional zoning. We took that to planning board in December, but just because the agenda was so busy, they tabled that to January, but just wanted to let you know that's in process and should be coming to you in the spring. Lastly, on amendments, one thing staff's going to be looking at, and we've heard this a few times, I think in the last council meeting regarding compression breaks, is the town's traffic schedule. So municipalities have an opportunity to basically adopt a traffic schedule, set speed limits and rules and regulations on roads in the town limits. I believe right now our traffic schedule only consists of the 45-mile-per-hour speed limit between our 2 major intersections on Boylston Highway in the center part of town. Everything else is just based on what the state has posted. But again, although truck compression brakes, although it's very difficult to enforce it, we can still include that in the traffic schedule and include signage for it. So that's something staff's going to start researching and looking at. And then lastly, I just wanted to congratulate Kevin Webb, our planning technician. He recently completed the certified zoning official course with the UNC School of Government and is now a North Carolina certified zoning official. So just wanted to put that out there and congratulate him. Thank you.
I know me and you talked about it a little bit, but the property up on 280, full of, looks like they're setting a double wide or something on the side of 280. What we thought was to be projected to be another Mills River Crossing type development. Get everybody up to speed on that. I get questioned about it a lot.
Yeah, nothing's been formally submitted, but preliminary steps have been taken for it to be a subdivision, and I don't believe that's changed. The double wide that went in the modular was a unit they moved off of a tract adjacent to the Mills River Crossing South. So my understanding is temporarily that's been moved there, installed, and will be used as residential. And eventually, as that site builds out, it'll be converted into basically another construction office.
Yes.
But initial projections for that site, I think it's 125 to 200 homes, depending upon how they can build out on that topography, because it does get quite steep towards the top.
Well, just touching on that, can I ask Michael a question? So part of the property on the south side, 280 for sale.
Oh.
That was supposed to be part of the Mills River Crossing. So have they abandoned that expansion of that?
This is the 30-acre one on the south side. I did not know that. I had a meeting with them about 2 weeks ago where we went through all their projects. Nothing was formally committed, so I don't know at this time if they're
Okay.
planning to build that out.
I'll echo the mayor and Nicole as well. The Santa Tour was a huge success this year, which was a lot considering the weather. So everyone did a great job. I was behind the scenes here working on Facebook, and there was a lot of interaction this year. A lot of people asking where Santa was, so it was fun and a very successful event. So again, thank you to everyone involved in that. And then this is not anything exciting, but I thought I would share that the Hendersonville, while we have received some rain, there's still a stage 1 water advisory, which is just voluntary. But just be aware of that as you're washing your cars and watering your lawns this winter. And then just a reminder of our closed session.
Any council comments, before we let everybody go?
If I may, I'd like to circle back around to the Parks and Recreation Director and just ask, do we have any sense on the structural assessment of the steel building next door, or is it just still in the engineer's court?
It is still in the engineer's court. Unfortunately, we were supposed to meet with him this week to begin that assessment. He had a family emergency. He had a family member end up in the hospital. So we are recircling back next week, and he's supposed to be here to start that process next week.
Okay, thank you.
Any other council comments? Hearing none, I need someone to make a closed session.
Can we take a break before we do that, please?
You want to take a break? We'll take a break.
Yes,
We're
please.
right on it. We thank everybody for coming. Everybody have a beautiful Christmas. Appreciate y'all being here. We'll see you, I guess, the second Thursday of January.
Next year.
Next.
Great.
Thank you.